everybody, and welcome to Word of the Day Wednesdays. I am author Nicole D. Miller of my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is an urban Christian fiction story depicting two young female cousins with a rift in their relationship. When Natalie, the faith based writer, social justice advocate, loses her mom, she moves in with her cousin Ashley, featured here on the cover in hopes of getting grief support. Instead of a warm welcome from Ashley, she gets an icy cold one. Learn more if these two young women are able to heal and mend their relationship. Will love win? You can actually read more at whenlovewins.love. All right, guys, so let's get started. I am author Nicole D. Miller. You guys know every week I piggyback off of my latest blog. This week, the name of the blog is Pregnant with Promise. Now, I am talking about a spiritual pregnancy here. Let me just put up I don't know, a forewarning so that my audience understands that we are talking theoretical here, not actual. And it's funny because I was sending my email for this particular blog update. And if you're on my email list, you know I usually have like a catchy subject line or whatever, or something in the subject to kind of make you want to read it. And I really was playing around with some things. I wanted to be like, guess who's expecting? I was like, maybe not, because I don't want people thinking that's me. Or are you expecting? And I'm like, my male readers are going to be like, what's happening right now? Funny enough, though, I got some input from a male reader and it was positive. So I was like, okay, the men are tapping into this. So basically, in this particular blog post, I talk about how I feel spiritually pregnant, how I feel I am pregnant with purpose, I'm pregnant with promises, I'm pregnant with things that are going to be forthcoming in the season but have not yet, right? And I talk about how when we look at a woman who's pregnant, sometimes we don't always know she's pregnant until a certain period of time where she's actually showing. But even just because she's not showing doesn't mean she's not pregnant. It could just be that she's not showing. And I kind of relate that to us being pregnant spiritually, that just because we are not showing or walking in that thing or manifesting that thing or where other people can see it doesn't mean that seed is not planted within us growing and blooming or about to bloom. And I felt like that was a pretty good revelation. One of the things I love is in my writing, I get revelation and I feel like the prophetic is flowing. And so it's really encouraging when I get a word from my writing, a word that I didn't have previously. Another thing I touch on in this particular blog is just how I can see through the advancement of my own writing. So I started off writing nonfiction and I wrote a book called How to Overcome Heartbreak, Recovering from Misguided Love. This particular book, although it was very genuine, authentic, and powerful, very helpful to others who have reached out to me about it. It was a short read, right? It was like 60 pages. And so as I grew as a writer, the volume of my books grew, and even pivoting into fiction definitely enhanced my writing, cultivated my writing. You get into a whole nother world when you start novel writing. Short stories is one thing, but novel writing, a whole different experience. And with the release of my debut novel, When Love Wins, I learned about how long it can take to actually complete a novel. And because I didn't know what I was doing, I spent like a whole year just editing. So I literally spent a year writing and a year editing. Now I am working on my second novel and it took me 4 months. So with the rough draft. So that just lets you know what happens when you actually know what you're doing. But my point is, what I can see is the volume grew, right? Because I'm more of an advanced writer now. And so, one of the things that I say in this blog pertaining to that is I believe the greater the thing is we are called to birth, the more preparation is needed. So, if you feel like you're in a situation where you just have not seen breakthrough, it's not moving, it's not changing, you feel stuck, you're going through one thing after another, right? it could be that the culmination of your testimony is increasing because of what you're going to birth after is going to be so monumental, so impactful, so voluminous that you can't just go through that thing for a short time period. And there's so many biblical characters that we could point to who have similar stories. Joseph was definitely one of those people. Abraham was one of those people. We don't know how long Job went through his thing, but he went through so much. I think he qualifies. So definitely one of the things I also point out is how that preparation is really transforming us. So when you're in those seasons of stretching, of difficulty, of testing, you should be changing, right? So it's not just so you could birth the thing that you're promised, it's also that you can be mature enough to steward the thing. And so I relate that to owning $1 million. Everybody always talks about wanting to hit the lottery or wanting to be a billionaire, want to be a boss, and want to be a leader and do this and do that. But do you have the character to steward well? Do you have the vision and the mindset? Can you be entrusted with wealth? Will you be giving to the poor? Will you be sowing into other organizations and other ministries? Will you be advancing the kingdom, or is it just all for self? Is it just for you, your bloodline, your glory? And so those are the things that we have to think about when we're in those tough seasons and we want to see the thing birthed out. And one of the things I touch on is that survivor mentality. That survivor mentality will hold you back every time. And one thing that I had to learn is even though I didn't go through this really rough poverty experience, thank you, Lord, for protection, I still had this survivor mentality because I was raised in a home and it's in my bloodline where that was very much present. And all of my needs were met, but it always came at a cost. It always came at this high labor, you know, this behind the scenes grit and tenacity and hardship. And so I developed like that same way of functioning. I was always very conscious of money, always making sure I follow my budget. I can't be left out, I can't go without, or who's going to take care of me. And my mom was part of that belief system because I was an only child. So she trained me to be like, you have to be okay. You're going to be on your own. And it's interesting because it did come true. Like she did leave this life early. I am on my own. But I think what she didn't understand was the father's intervention in my life. And he started teaching me at a very, very young age about depending on him financially and depending on him in my career. And I didn't know at the time, it really was just training for a lifelong experience. But I can look back now and just see these different tests and things that he was doing in me. And it really was to introduce me to a kingdom mindset and a kingdom lifestyle, which is very similar to entrepreneurship. Where you're sowing, you're sowing, you're sowing, and then you're reaping, and you may not get that output as soon as you put that input in. And going through those seasons of unemployment and almost being fired and leaving work and all the stuff, the ups and downs of it all was preparation to build my character to be able to steward more and better, right? So I think those previous generations meant well, and they gave us the tools that they had and maybe the tools that even worked for them. But in order for us to take the land, we definitely need to have a mentality of overcoming and not just surviving. And I'm actually talking about this in my upcoming memoir. Yes, I'm writing a memoir and a novel. um, but I talk about this because I think we confuse the two. But to me, a survivor is someone you just like, you barely got out of that thing, right? Like it's kind of still had its nails in you and it snatched your coat and you fleed, right? And so it's kind of like a remnant or residue on you. But when you overcome, like you launch over that thing and there is no residue. And that's not to say that we're not perfect. I just think that overcoming is an experience where we can impact the next generation through changing our DNA. I won't get too deep because I talk about this stuff in the book, but that's kind of been my experience. I know that I'm called to overcome. I'm grateful for my ancestors who survived, but I am called to take our bloodline to the next level. All right, so if you guys feel like any of this resonates with you, tap into my blog, NicoleDMiller.com. I feel like things are pretty quiet on this end, and it's like, all right, Nicole, you always doing the most. Like, it's probably not quiet, but to you, I do have projects I'm working on. I think that's part of it too, because I have clients, projects that I'm working on. So I'm not out in the field as much. I'm used to like being everywhere, networking everywhere, all the things. But because I'm working more, it's like, okay, well, I don't have time for that. Like, or I'm drained from the projects that I'm working on because they're pretty heavy. So, but I did post today, so you guys could be on the lookout for this. I am receiving my first award. Drum roll, please. I'm so excited. I'm receiving my first award from Career Mastered magazine, nominated by my good friend Lisa Nichols, who is also part of the Girl Talk tribe. And it is an Emerging Leader Award. The theme is I am resilient, her. So I feel super blessed and honored, you guys. I've never gotten an award, and I didn't even know like I could get an award outside of National Honor Society, like school. you know, I didn't even know I could get an award. So to be in this space is definitely an honor, and it's just God teaching me that he really rewards the faithful. Like he sees your hard work. You don't do it for that, but you do get rewards for it and are awarded. So this this upcoming next month, around this time actually, yeah, because it's the 15th through the 17th, I'll be in Detroit. Holler at your girl, and I'll be getting my first award, so that's dope. I'm actually nominated for the Author of the Year award through the Stiletto Boss Awards. So I'm super excited about that. Shout out to Dr. Shamara Hutchins for the nomination. I know you guys have seen her on the Girl Talk panel, panelist discussions as well. She's a heavy hitter. And I'm excited because that is like pertaining directly to my work. And when you're an author, you are just laboring, laboring, laboring. Like to be a creative is just a different thing because you're putting a part of yourself in your work. And then when you're an independent, you have to brand it, get the word out, let people know, hustle, all the things. So I will be posting about that come early May. We have the kickoff. You guys will be asked over and over to vote daily. There will be no shame in my ass game. So you know that I am always in your face on social media and out networking and doing all the things. Well, that's how I'm gonna be about this award, okay? Nomination. Vote for me. All right. All right, guys. I think I talked your ear off enough. Thank you for tuning in to Word of the Day Wednesdays. Catch me next week and learn more at NicoleDMiller.com.